Hi, this is Eli Oakletree of the SnoKing Beekeepers Association, and we are meeting to plan and make sure everyone has the information they need to make the fair really enjoyable, because it actually is our big social event of the year. It really is. If you come in for a shift, there's a good chance you're going to see the people before you, the shift before you, and the people afterwards. And I immediately got a tickle in my throat. Sorry. Okay. This is August 6th, and we're talking about the Evergreen State Fair. And to volunteer, first thing you do is go find this Sign Up Genius site. And it's in the newsletter, it's on the Facebook discussion page, and you can email me for anything that you can't find here. And I think it's on a later slide. That's the first thing you got to do is figure out what shifts you can work. And if there's already 3 people, go to the indoor booth. I also have that Sign Up Genius site on here later. If you're working 3 shifts, you need to text your name and your t-shirt size right now to Becky, because something came up and she's going to leave right after the 11th. So she needs the t-shirt sizes and with your name by the 11th. First and last name is a good idea. And that's her phone number. Then you have to figure out where the fair is. This is the Monroe one, which is actually the state fair of Washington State. Never mind that Puyallup calls itself the Washington State Fair. This one's the official one because it has all the agriculture. And there are people who show animals and such that are showing their animals so many times to win so many ribbons to get champion, grand champion, or whatever. And so it is really the biggest fair outside of the Puyallup, which is really a vendor association. It's really not an agricultural fair.
It
Token.
actually has a smaller arena.
I know it doesn't really rank. We have the good fair. Okay. Now, if we somehow don't get your parking and admission tickets to you, we can meet at the feed store. And if you live at home, we can meet at the Monroe, it's actually the Snohomish Co-op Monroe location feed store, Cascade Way, and we can meet there and hand you the parking tickets and the admission tickets. If you're thinking, oh, I'll park first and then I'll go ask, then I'll call to get the admission tickets, it's not going to work because the parking is so much. It's like $15 on the weekends. So that's okay. We'll just walk across the fair, meet you at the Monroe feed store. And so no panicking. You won't have to pay a lot of money to get in. This is fun, not supposed to be free for you volunteers. So, now, one of the most important things about the fair, and it took me a couple of years to learn this, is that see those red flags up above? You look for the red parking lot, and they're kind of orange now. They're faded out, some of the red flags. Those little bunting flags, that's what you're looking for, that parking lot. This means you will not be turning into the fair at a stoplight. Ignore the stoplights. You're getting into turn lanes to get into the red parking lot. And if you have to drive past the fair once and come back, it's worth it. Don't turn in at a stoplight. You are going in the wrong direction. Then once you get into the red parking lot, there's a tunnel that goes under a street, and then you just keep walking forward. You don't see us right away, and then go a little to the right. I think you're going to see the Farmer for a Day building, which is a temporary building that's not up right now, but will be up by the time of the fair. So just keep going past the Farmer for a Day, and then you'll see the 2 bee club booths, and there are 2 bee clubs, and some of you actually volunteer at both, I think, and that's great. We all need you. Then sign in, even if you decide to go to the indoor honey booth. Some people have to go to the indoor. They need to sit down, they need to be out of the sun, out of the wind, and that's fine. We'll work it out. If you sign up on our website, we left 3 spaces there. As soon as we can, we'll get you in there. If That's where you go. Or you can sign up directly at the indoor honey booth if you know you need to sit down,
Oh,
be out of the sun, etc. Now, when you get to our booth, you've signed in and there's a volunteer packet with your t-shirt if you promise to do 3 shifts. Even if you don't know which 3, Becky needs your t-shirt size now because she's going to be leaving town. She won't even be here for the fair. I can't believe she could miss the fair, but she's going to after making like 30 t-shirts. I know it's not fair. Well, it's not just. Okay. Whenever you get asked a question, I started to type in, just direct people to our website, SnoKingBKA.org, and then have fun. This is supposed to be fun, no stressing about anything. When you leave, it's great if you sign out. If you are doing this for journeyman service credits, I've got a form. I'd be happy to send it to you. Ask me to email it. I might be able to leave a couple at the fair, sort of where you're signing in and out, and then people could just grab one because you forget. And sometimes you go later on, yeah, I did 2 whole days there. And then you have a lot of service credit coming to you. So, and if you've finished your apprentice certificate, you can start counting your service. From the minute you have finished your apprentice certificate requirements, you are eligible to start counting that service. And don't worry about the questions. First of all, the most common question is, where are the restrooms? We promise we'll have the map and I'll show you the really good air conditioned clean ones and the ones. Okay. I got a map coming up. And then you get those questions about, what about them murder hornets and them Africanized bees? Okay.
they don't come
Uh,
up here that far.
okay. You reassure people very seriously. You take them seriously. And, and anything they don't know about bees, like they think they're like hornets, you can help them just understand that. Then they ask, how do I get started in bees? And the number one thing is take a class, join a club, don't trust the internet. But if you started bees at all, you already know this. It's going to be an easy question to answer. And then we have a lot of literature there. And on all that literature is our website, the SnoKingBKA.org. So it's going to be easy to hand them a piece of literature and something they're already interested in and tell them there's a contact form. I tried doing a sign-up sheet for questions, and most people are really using their phones and computers so much that they really would prefer to just go on the website, type their question in, and get an email back or a phone call back. And I can get to those pretty fast because they come up in a list on the computer for me. Then they ask, when's the next class? September for beginners, and I think apprentice starts a little later, October. Journeyman starts in September too. It's on the calendar, but right now the calendar isn't reading correctly on the website. I'll fix it. I'll try to get to it tomorrow. And we offer those classes year round. Some people aren't sure if they want to take one now or later. I would tell them before you buy anything, for example, a flow hive. And a lot of Sandra's laughing at me because we all know about the beginner who gets the flow hive, right? I just slapped this box out in my backyard, and then halfway through the summer, I just turn the little nozzle, and the honey just flows out, and then I just close it back up again. The bees overwinter, and we're going, oh no! And they spent $600 for this, and then we have to tell them, take the top box off and store it. Put the second box on that you now have to buy in addition to the $600 flow hive setup. And we break it to them as gently as we can. Do remember to be polite, right? Total seriousness. The honeybees are making a nest in my tree and I can see it. It's gray and papery. Seriously, well now, honeybees don't generally do that. Okay, get a serious face, okay? There are a lot of people who say they don't learn in classes, and how do they get a mentor? Well, they can come to the apiaries before they take a class. If I was someone, I wouldn't mentor anyone who refused to take beginner. Some people do. Our club does not promise to sign you up. The other club does. The other club has $18,000 in its treasury because it's been promising that for 10 years. In my opinion, it has not delivered most of the time. It has occasionally, and those people stay in the club. So getting a mentor is a good idea, but we haven't figured out how to match up people across Western Washington. We just haven't. We're still working on it. If a good plan comes up, we'll follow it. Then they want to know if we have in-person classes because they're thinking they're better. The apiary, that's true, but that's only as weather permits. And then Zoom classes, we have discussion and question and answer, which is almost in person. No, we don't actually have them in person except for the apiary during the summer. So those questions, if you think about it, you already know those. And anything you don't know, you can hand them a piece of literature with our website, and actually the phone number is often on there too. So I'll have some kind of a packet. If you have not already picked up a queen rearing calendar and a pollen chart, which I redid the pollen chart. It has some really interesting colors of pollen on it. If you haven't already picked that up by coming out to the apiary, or you just earned a certificate in the last few months, I'll have some there that you can pick up. And then there'll be a packet with probably, I ordered a new type of patch. So anybody who volunteers will be the first person to get a patch, the first people. And then there'll probably be something else in the packets. I'll work on it, okay? So this is the fair address if you need to MapQuest it. The fair is pretty big and spread out. Remember, there's 2 sign-up links for the 2 booths, right? There's ours proper, and then there's inside in building 500. Down here, okay, here it is, the 2 booth signups. And they're in your newsletter if it's easier to click on them and get to them. Then the fair entry information. Tim came out at the last meeting. It must have been the June meeting. He came out and explained about the fair entry for honey, for wax, for largest frame, for a gadget that you use on a device that is an ID that you've used on your beehives. Want to make a bee poster, whatever. He explained that in the monthly meeting. So if you go to monthly meetings on the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, SnoKing Beekeepers, type it in and it should come up. And admission and parking are free, t-shirt. I know I put the t-shirt in like 3 times because now Becky realizes she needs to have everybody's size by the 11th, and she'll make some extras. But to get the right size guaranteed, you have to get your name. Better do first and last name and the t-shirt size. And the tickets are cost this much. I'm warning everybody, the tickets cost this much, okay? It's kind of, whoa, that gets expensive if you're taking your kids. So just come work shifts and get tickets through us and parking tickets. And if you really need an extra ticket or 2, we usually can work it out. Somebody doesn't need all 3 of their tickets on one day. So we just say, hey, is it okay if we keep the tickets and hand them on to somebody? And everybody says yes. Tim at the honey booth actually gives out more tickets per shift. So he'd be happy to help out. So if it's keeping your family from going to the fair and having fun, we can help. A lot of the free days are gone. A lot of the reduced days are gone. There's one senior citizens day. There used to be all kinds of free days. There used to be give a food donation free day. They're not there anymore. And parking is not in and out. So you might need more than 1 parking pass. And that's $10 if you're lucky enough to come Monday through Friday, and the weekends, $15. No in and out. T-shirts. This is 2 years ago t-shirt. And then this is, Becky just sent this and she said she'd get on. There's Becky. Say hi to Rebecca Glaze. She's there.
Here,
Okay.
I've been here the whole time.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna be completely out of town. I was warning people, the 11th. Get the sizes, first and last name to Becky, texting to the phone number by then.
Yes, please. I'm going to Northern California where the firefighters are and help to clean the trailers that they're in. So that's where I'm going.
Like you don't have enough to do with all your grandkids and yeah, friends in different states. Yeah. She just has to find extra things to do.
And I've got a friend that came up from Texas who's been helping with the t-shirts the last 2 days. So combined, we spent 6 hours on them so far. We're about half done.
That was 36, in case you didn't hear that on the audio. I've already started. These are handcrafted, really cute. Like that. If I run, you run. And
But
then
you
I
were,
think yeah.
were you able to
And,
get it on? Okay.
and then there's last year's t-shirt. I put that in because it was so cute. Everybody wanted to see that. Okay. No, notice again, I put shirt size by August 11th. Does everybody remember when they are supposed to have their t-shirt size in? Okay. So signing up, setting the t-shirt size, text is highly preferred. Um, and then I'll send out an email to make sure I know whether want your admission and parking passes mailed, whether you'll pick them up at the Maltby Apiary. I will warn you, when you get to the fair traffic, I'm not easy to get to. I am one of the two main roads. I'm off it that go into the fair. You really want them mailed, unless you're going to pick them up at a time you know there's not going to be fair traffic. Or all else fails, you've forgotten your tickets or whatever, go to the feed store and we'll meet you there. With three people, especially at the booth, we can always have somebody available to go walk across. And if you're getting dropped off at the fair, the only place I know of that you can safely get dropped off, really, with all the crazy traffic, is at the feed store. And I don't think I put anything about the trolley in. The trolleys are little, like oversized golf carts. There's one or two of them that are bigger, but mainly they're like oversized golf carts. And these really nice people just sort of taxi you around. Because if you look at the map that's coming up at the fair and you end up in the wrong parking lot, you have to find out where the trolley is and ride the trolley around or wind your way through the fair, which can be a pain. And Mike Gipperty, I don't think he's on here yet. He says that he will be able to morning open almost every day of the fair. And that's really big. I wouldn't mind having another person who opens, and a closer is important too. Someone who naturally works that, I think it's 4 or 5:30 to 8:30 at night. It's a 3 or 4 hour shift. And if you could work that and close up, because when it's the same person that does it every time, they can tell me we're missing something or they know how to do it. Okay, how to get to the fair. I already said, don't turn at the stoplights. Trust me. Drop off point. The address is almost the same, Monroe Co-op Feed Store. You can go GPS that, MapQuest that. You can, and we'd be happy to get the tickets to you. We take them over there, and because we want you to have that parking ticket in your hand before you go. The red orange lot, it's the flags are getting kind of faded out, some of them. And for this, you actually get into a turn lane, a right-hand turn lane that's like a block long at the height of the fair, going this way towards Snohomish. And if you're going toward Monroe, you get in a little left-hand turn lane, which blocks up for another, like a block. So you don't turn at a stoplight. If you do, you're going to end up coming back out and turning around to get into the easy parking lot. If you have to, you end up parking wherever they'll take the parking ticket and you ride the trolley or you walk through the entire fair, which looks very small on here, but I have been lost on that fair so much. I can tell you, you're better off to get to that red parking lot. If you need the handicapped or if you need to load or unload something, just you have to mention it to the flaggers, then they'll let you go up. And take that trolley. It's like an oversized golf cart. There's a tunnel here. Now, this is one of those stoplights I told you not to turn at. You take the tunnel and go underneath and show your ticket here and go on through. And we are here. And there might be something you can't quite see us. Just keep walking forward and a little to the right, and then you'll see us. Oh, and I put cute stars on here. Isn't this neat? I'm so proud of myself. So we are here. That indoor honey booth is here in Building 500. And that feed store is over here. I'm glad that we're recording this and we're gonna put it up so people can find it. So, oh, and then on this one, I promised to people, I think before we started recording, that there is a really good place to get food and the cleanest air-conditioned restrooms over here in the horse arena. In this corner, okay, we're here, and you walk to this corner, these are the best restrooms, yes. And and then there's the best food, but it's not all day long. And the horse people absolutely insisted that they have some edible food, not all greasy, sweetsy, makes you sick after a day or so, if not
It's
an
open
hour.
fairly, it's been open fairly early now because of the horse is, if you're at the early days of the fair, you'll have the 4-H horse events and they should be open early.
Okay, and then they don't stay open late, do they? I think they close in the afternoon.
It depends on whether there's a horse event or
Okay,
not.
but they're worth checking. And, I want you to have the inside information. So this is in the recording too, if anyone needs this. And if you want to look at it aerially, remember your GPSs are wonderful, your MapQuest, and you can see what we're talking about with the speedway. And then we are here. After you come through underneath the tunnel that goes underneath that road and shown your ticket and gone in.
Eli, do you have a photo of the booth from last year just so people know what to look for?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
I am so organized. Hi, you're going to be impressed. Okay, so here it is again. You can look this up and this is what you'll see. Now it's kind of tilted. Okay, here we are, the booth. And we went to a 10 by 20 from a little 10 by 10 we had earlier. We had a lot of literature and we're going to try to get that in better into racks and off the table because it was taking up the whole table. So we have our scarecrows. Becky's also the scarecrow person, and she's making a third one this year. That's Honey Bandit, who has been, I think, the favorite of the fair. We didn't do well on tablecloths because I couldn't find them. This year I found the tablecloths. We need to use tablecloths on all the tables to cover up what the stuff we store underneath. And then we have these brochure racks and racks that we can put laminated posters on. And then we have small tables that we can pull out. That's the observation hive there. That is the most popular thing at the fair. It takes one person just to show the queen bee and everything. Okay, so if you are opening, and that's why it's so important that Mike's going to do it, and I wouldn't mind having one more person who thought they could be there a lot of the mornings. You have to, what you just saw, the walls are rolled up and kind of stuffed with little bungee cords. And then we have lights in here. You have to actually do that. You can put the awning out or not. I think we ended up having the awning out because it kept raining on us. That may happen again this year. It's looking like it might be a little wet and cold, so it could happen. We were thinking we could get more of the walls up. We'll see. The more open it is, the more friendly it is, but let's see how windy and cold it is. If we could get 3 sides up and only 1 side down, I think that'd be really open. We'll see. Then those racks and brochure stands, they move out if it's not raining. And every morning those have to get refilled with the brochures, the catalogs, the magazines. And we will have the tablecloths this year, covering all the stuff that's under the tables. We have electricity. Did you notice the lights? That's good because you can recharge your phone and we can run the TV monitor on which we can show slides of our club and the bees. Then the closing people will have to do the reverse. They'll have to bring all the stands and brochures in. They have to take all the brochures, not only putting them inside, but they have to be under plastic and inside of plastic. Because we have, even when it seems like it's dry, you set a cardboard box of brochures on the ground, they will get wet. They just soak up the water, and I can take them home, but it can take me a week with books stacked on top of them to get them to dry out inside. So let's try not to get them wet. And then we
Eli,
have banners.
the
What?
observation hives?
The observation hive is coming up. I have close-up pictures of
Okay,
the
but it
observation hive.
shouldn't it be on the list for closing?
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes. Observation hive, because we carry that into the 500 building. Yes, I will put that on. That's an important thing. Somebody could mess around with the bees, and the bees actually are in that small box. They actually will chill and be permanently damaged. The brood will die if it gets really cold out there at night. The wind comes up. So we actually put them in a styrofoam surround and carry them or roll them if we have a cart that's that small down to the 500 building, the indoor honey booth building. So yes, I need to put that on there. The banners, if we hang the banners well, they can just stay. They're hanging right under where the walls roll up, or they're hanging off the tables. And we have some huge laminated posters. I didn't put a picture here of them, but people said, well, you should talk about native pollinators. And I got some great posters of bumblebees, native bees, and a general one about pollinators. And they can hang, if we have a solid wall, that would be great for them to hang against that. Looks better than that gray wall. Then the people who are closing up will have to roll down those walls, and then they kind of bungee cord again to the poles at the sides, turn off the lights. Oh, and text me if the water in the pop and the cooler are getting low. We'll put some in there. If anybody has extra pop or extra water and they want to bring some, or they only drink one type, go ahead, feel free to drop it off. We'll have the cooler with ice underneath. The fair is just very expensive, and at least you should be able to get something to drink while you're there volunteering. There are water bottle refill stations at the drinking fountains. You can refill your water bottles there and not have to do tap water. Now, the next thing, people have been sending me pictures for actually a couple of years. Anything that's relevant to our club, I'm trying to make a long slideshow that will go, it will be played on this monitor. This is only a 32 inch. Does anybody happen to have a 42 or something inch monitor? Sometimes people get rid of their TVs. It can be any kind of monitor. It can be a dumb monitor, because we have this little device that plays on anything that can display a picture, it will play on. I have hundreds of slides and I'm trying to organize them. Some of past fairs, some of the apiaries, the queen rearing workshop. So, and it should be super easy to use. I'm testing it. If I can write it out so that it's foolproof, I will. I think I can. I think it's click and start and it auto plays and will even auto loop. So if anybody has good slides to put in that they were thinking of sending me, now's a good time. Then this booth last year was mostly paper. I mean, that wasn't very interesting. So this time I think we'll try harder to have a children's table with bee suits and bee brushes and maybe a pollen patty in a Ziploc. I labeled it bee cookie on the last time I went out to do a summer camp presentation. There's a very nice summer camp that it's paid our club now $200, $100 a show. Hey, they didn't mind paying it, and great donation to us. Then I think I'd like to have another table that we can put the advanced beekeeper stuff more oriented toward beekeepers. On the children's table, you can't put the hive tool. I don't recommend that. You take your eyes off that, it's gonna be trouble. The kids playing swords. I'm sorry, I had 2 boys and I know everything you should not do with an object. So we can't put the hive tools, we can't put the decapping fork, things like that. We really can't put there anything that breaks easily. So let's have another table. And then if we could throw a tablecloth over the one that we don't have somebody at, that'd be great too. But the children's table would be super safe. And then the beekeeper one can be more oriented toward adult beekeepers. Plus, I really would like to talk about Varroa treatments at the fair. We're not pushing any one of them, but people need to do something about it. And I have, I think, enough packages that I can show most of the types of Varroa treatment that you can buy in a package. And maybe other people could contribute packages if they have them. So I'm hoping to move a lot of this out of here. Oh, and the back wall, this wall does have a window in it. So we usually put that on the side that we're sort of blocking. So when we're putting this up, we need to remember that there's one side that has a window and the opposite side has a door. Oh, we are putting up on Monday, it turns out. The fair doesn't start till Thursday, but we sort of need to claim our space, especially since they moved us all around a little bit. Same place, but we're a little bit moved in orientation because they're going to put a new building there, a new temporary building. Then over to the side, which I don't know if you can see in the other pictures, there's this extra canopy space where people do presentations. And it's hard to really get people's attention unless you, I don't know, Walt could just do it. That's Walt there last year, just sitting down talking bees, and everybody just came and listened to him. He was really good. We can put up a little sign that says SnoKing Beekeepers. Of course, he wore the outfit. Should I get more antenna and bee glasses this year? I don't know if people wear them or not. Only some people wear them. It is not required, okay? I want to take a bunch of these and put them together either on a poster. I think that'd be the best if I just tape these onto like one big piece of Corplex and people could see the different types of Varroa treatments that are possible. Oxalic acid is the favorite of people who stay in beekeeping, but the first year, it's a lot easier to break this little tablet here apart that smells like Thymol. It's a lot easier to open the gel tray, pull the foil back. Smells like Thymol. The oxalic acid, yeah, we could put the wand there. But in a lot of ways, the first year people can't do that much. Apivar is failing. I'd put that up there and say failing. This mites have developed resistance. Then there are the pads, which can't open them up. Boy, it gas you out. The formic acid is terrible. But warning them about it is a good idea. Hop guard. Now we could, at least in a Ziploc, put the hop guard. It's the sloppiest, messiest stuff ever. People use it once, they buy a huge package and they say, I am never doing this again. It is so sloppy, messy. If you ever use that, you know what I'm talking about. But it'd be good to put it out and have a talking point. And we don't have to put it out every day. Whoever wants to put it out can pick up that one and put it out. Or we could find some other presentation type things that you could put out, and you could either go under the canopy or stand at the booth at a table. Whatever works. Demoing the smoker is one of the favorite things. You could do that every day. You'd probably do that twice a day. People think it's the greatest. Demoing how to light a smoker and making smoke. Okay. Oh, the monthly meetings. If you are feeling a little shaky about Varroa, for example, you can go, here's our YouTube channel, and we go to playlists, get monthly meetings, and then the last one was on Varroa, if you wanted to review that because you wanted to talk about it. And then if you're making fair entries, which I want to talk a little bit about, the fair entries, entering the fair. Tim 80, he's the gentleman with the Santa Claus type beard who kind of comes in and out, and usually he stays at the fair in a camper or RV, like a lot of people do who work all the days of the fair. He's actually the event supervisor for the honey judging and for the outdoor displays. He's the guy you go to. So he gave tips when he came in June. We actually talked about hives as well, but the state of our hives at that time. But he talked a lot about entering for the fair. It was like 20 minutes, first 20 minutes or 30 minutes. He talks about that. There he is with the Santa Claus beard. That's him. And entering the fair is really fun. If you haven't done it, I'd even go through as many of his tips as I can remember. But it is just fun to be able to point to it, and you have a great chance of earning a prize because not that many people enter, especially if it's something like comb honey, cream honey, the heaviest medium-sized frame versus the heaviest deep frame. Those are really fun categories, and I have a list of them. Also, scarecrows. Becky does a great job on scarecrows, but there's actually kid categories on scarecrows and adult categories. And it's not under the honey section. It's under general agriculture. And you have to go look. Here it is, scarecrow competition. And your scarecrow can look like anything. kids would love this. I wish my kids had ever done this. Like, it could be a spaceman scarecrow, or it could be a ninja turtle space scarecrow. So while you're already at the fair, I want you to have fun. Honey is the obvious one. Wax, blocks of wax. And Tim warned you about what to be careful of. Getting the right weight on the wax, making sure you fill the honey jars exactly just so close to the top, not touching, but just under, and not slack filling, not leaving a gap between the lid and the level of the honey. And you can go to the open class. This is the page that comes up if you go to Everett Fair and put an open class, it'll send you to this website. You can get the handbook there and just click. This is the honey one. So the scarecrow is different, but see how many types of honey there are. There is extracted honey, chunk honey, which is chunks of honeycomb with extracted wax poured on top of it. Creamed honey, which it's more popular nowadays. The comb honey, actual pieces of comb, and has to be wrapped with a clear plastic cover. It says it can be wrapped in clear plastic wrap. Except Ross rounds. I know what a Ross round looks like. You have to read this. If you don't know what these mean, we could find out. Beeswax. And then pollen. You can collect pollen, and it's really kind of fun for the kids to see the different colors of pollen. If you have a bee gadget, you've come up with the best entrance reducer or feeder system ever. The heaviest frame. Oh, look at all those categories. There is a really big deep frame, a less deep frame, a western frame, and a shallow frame. The heaviest frame of honey. It's like the biggest giant pumpkin. And then you can do posters too. Okay. When you do this and you say, I can't get there on the day it's supposed to be dropped off, you're supposed to take it in on the day of the 17th and you can't do it. No problem. You can do an online entry, get one person out of a group to drop all the entries off for you. And get a claim ticket for each entry. Okay, back to the booth. I got sidetracked there because I thought it was so exciting. I thought it was really neat, the number of things you could do. Actually, there's categories, I think right next to the scarecrow, where kids can make a vegetable animal, a vegetable critter. They just have to take raw vegetables and arrange it on the plate so it looks like something. That is like how I got my kids to eat vegetables. You know, you got to have the raisins for the eyes on top of the carrot legs with the celery and had the peanut butter. Okay, anyway. So anyway, it reminds me of what we did when my kids were growing up. So this is, again, here's another view of it. Here's those brochure stands. These are laminated. They still have to come inside, even though they're laminated posters. They let us spread out quite a bit. So we've been taking advantage of that. I just wish we didn't get the tablecloths on that year. Oh, if you're volunteering, for every shift you work, you get a chance to win one of the prizes. And of course, the grand prize is Manly did it last year and they did it again this year. They donated. It's one single deep box with inner outer cover and solid bottom board. And actually that robbing screen is not part of it, but I'd be happy to throw in a used robbing screen because I've got that on hand. If that's what you really need to motivate you to volunteer a lot for the fair. So you get one chance in the drawing and for each shift. And we're not trying to add in membership this year. That was too complicated last year. There are baseball caps, books, J-hook, hive tools, and some double strainer honey extraction sets. Service credits, I think people understand. If not, get back to me. Here they are. Here's these, and look at those fancy. I mean, that is the latest fashion in baseball caps, right? For beekeepers with datant on it. And we have I think it's autographed. It has a scroll, which I think says Lori R. King of the Beekeepers Apprentice, which was the very nice organization that paid us $600 to show up and do a honey tasting and a presentation. Pat Waymeyer and I did that, and it was really fun. It was the 30th anniversary of the Beekeepers Apprentice, and they wanted a beekeeper to show up. And I'm glad they asked me because I got questions like, I don't see honeybees during the winter, but I see them all summer long. Where did they go during the winter? It's worth hundreds of dollars to have somebody with a straight face say, well, honeybees are very special insects. Most insects that live above ground can't live through the winter, but honeybees cluster and store extra honey. You should have seen it. I was good. Oh, and there's a couple of beekeeping books and 3 hive tools. I think there's a couple sets of the strainers. So there are great prizes. If anybody has anything else that's new, maybe not even bee related, it's kind of a nice thing. If you'd like to donate it to the raffle, we'll put it in the prize list. First name drawn, which we will do at the September monthly meeting. Okay, I know who's worked shifts. We give everybody the chances, the number of chances. Random numbers are assigned, and one person on one computer is looking at the list, and the other person is randomizing, pulling random numbers out. It's great fun, and we can even get a drum roll too for it. And then you get to pick first name gets to pick the one they want. Some people don't want the hive. They really, really want that dated baseball cap. Baseball cap's keeping your nose away from the veil so you don't get your nose stung. Very important for beekeepers. And this is Nikaya doing the observation hive, which we have to pull out each day. And as Ty was saying, we don't just put it back under the tent. We actually have to keep it warm. The brood that's up here on display is supposed to be at 92 to 94 degrees. Remember, we can't leave it outside at the fair, especially when it's a single frame up here. Even if we kind of close it up, cover it somewhat, we need it inside an inner building. Plus, it's always possible somebody would think it was funny to knock the beehive over. So, and we have stickers to give out for everybody gets a sticker. I don't care what age you are, you get a sticker. And it says, I saw the queen. Here, I saw the queen, SnoKing
Eli,
Beekeepers.
just as a note, it would be handy if we had either more flashlights or charged flashlights. We were having a problem with the number of flashlights and then finding the flashlights. So that would be handy because, the kids get really drawn in to find the queen. It's just, if we could perhaps have a few more flashlights and most of them rechargeable, but maybe a couple that were just still using old cells or something. So we had backups or something.
Yeah, we would go through a lot of batteries, but that might be the only time it might be worth paying for the batteries because we had the recharger there, but it was just hard to find time to even. Okay, these are the short flashlights. And what the kids are doing is they're actually seeing the bees. And especially with children, that's why the table is down so low, is this really is a children's activity as much as an adult's. And with the flashlights, kids don't have good vision frequently, and they really can't see. Even adults have troubles seeing into the bee cells and looking. Now, the queen, she's easy to spot, but everything around her gets hard to spot without a flashlight. And the kids do think the flashlights are the greatest. They really, that keeps them busy while the parents ask you questions about bees. Yeah. So yeah, we'll work on getting some more. And the recharger's there. And yeah, and I think, yeah, we better do the ones you could change out the batteries and just recycle the batteries, I hope.
Yeah.
If somebody, some store takes them still. Okay, the queen will be marked, it'll be green this year. That was last year's queen, Valkyrie. She was a real performer. She liked being out in the light. Okay, there's a group of us being very happy and the t-shirts, because I wasn't sure that Becky was going to have the design, and she's already got the design and got a bunch of them made already. Check the newsletter, and anyone that signs up for the newsletter online, they're going to get the newsletter. So if someone's interested, would like to get our newsletter, no problem. You don't have to buy a membership first. I think these are still the same prices. Yeah, in classes, plus $30 for dues. So if anybody wants to know, we do have now 3 extractors to loan out. And our meetings are recorded on YouTube. So there's some things like that. I hope they're all in the trifold brochure that's going to be there that describes our club. And then we have some wonderful glasses and antennae and wings that you can wear while you're there, if the mood strikes you. If you're in the mood, you can dress up like that and demonstrate flying. I mentioned some of the presentations. Okay, why would you want to do a presentation instead of just standing at the booth? Well, for your journeyman service credits, you can only count half of your 35 credits as coming from staffing a booth. But if you go over and do a demonstration, how to light a smoker and how you would use it, you could even do it around the hive. If you explain the parts of a hive, if you talk about winterization, and we can have these in batches, whatever you would like to do, and we can change what we put on the table each day. Honey extractor, we can bring a honey extractor. Matter of fact, we do that every year. And then if you have the children's hands-on table and you make a presentation out of that by bringing it over, beekeeper tools, how you suit up. And then Walt just attracted people. He was so good at this. Can anybody else do this where they just sit down and just look like a beekeeper and people ask you questions? I have found no volunteers to demonstrate the waggle dance. I am sure that all of you could do the waggle dance really well. And I think we should have volunteers for this year. If
Are
you'll
they
do it,
allowed
I'll
to
do it
have
with you.
alcohol in the fair?
No mead. No mead, sorry.
Maybe we should do it as a flash mob, Eli.
How would we coordinate this and go in the same direction? We'd have to practice, I think. Bees that have had too much meat. Okay. But yeah, there actually is a space close by. It would be really fun to do. Okay. You'd have to have a big sign that said what it was. I think somebody would have to stand around with a sign saying, this is a waggle dance.
Yeah, you might otherwise get arrested or something like that.
Yeah, I
if
don't
you're
know,
not
indecent,
careful.
whatever. I don't
Right.
know. Okay, and then the varroa treatments, I'm going to mount on a, like I said, a actually Coreplex, that really good poster board, the plastic poster board. And you have the wings, so you could demonstrate how bees fly. And if you wanted to do the queen, drone, and worker, you could probably find people that would stand up with you and be a queen, a drone, and a worker. But if you do a presentation, that isn't part of the half of your credits that you can get for staffing the booth. That's the other half. It counts hour per hour toward journeyman service credits. So a lot of people have enough staffing credits. Now they need something else like presentation. And that's me with a bunch of stuff spread out that people can come up and take a look at. And I'm right there. That's why the hive tools and the decapping forks that I don't trust the little kids with are right there. But I'm talking parts and whatever. And I will make a poster like that. And you could do explaining how with the varroa, you could explain how you do an alcohol wash sample. Oh, and just a reassurance, when you get asked about the northern giant hornet, we are not calling it Asian anymore, partly because there are several Asian hornets. And this is the giant one. This is not the one that just showed up in Georgia this past year, the yellow-legged one. This one is Mandarinia. The other one is Velutina. Until I hear otherwise. And honey judging. We get 3 or 4 people in for honey judging every year, and one opening just opened up. So if you already have your apprentice and it would count towards your journeyman service credits, this is a really nice way to do something in addition to staffing. It's pretty much a day-long commitment though. You process the honey coming in, and then you judge it after all the entries have come in. So it's a pretty long day. And we've been getting donations of all kinds of stuff, time and energy, and actually a lot of this equipment, which doesn't all match, but that's because we didn't have to pay cash for it. Okay, I think that was pretty much all I had. Should I stop the recording? Is there anything that we should put on this recording before I stop the recording? I covered as much as I could. I'll stop the recording. Okay, let's see here. So thanks for all coming. We'll get this out on the website, on the monthly meeting playlist.